Everything all at once?
Everything all at once.
It's honestly a sensation.
Aliens listen to it.
Millionaire maybe, or like he made a lot of money, but all he would do is live bet sports. Like once the game got going and he saw the trends or whatever of the game, he would bet it and he just made a killing. But I'm not that smart.
Dude, I don't know. I like statistics. I'm definitely not that smart, but I always thought statistics were super, super interesting. And I think, like, that's how you, like, win at a lot of different games is just play the numbers.
Yeah.
And the stats.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, poker, everything,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
say,
All the
poker.
games.
Yeah.
I remember yours and Matt's spreadsheet masterpiece playing college basketball.
It was a good start to things, but like we just never fully followed through with it because two things get factored in. One, superstition, and two, greed. So like we'd be like, if you just bet one game at a time, you could slowly grind out money, kind of like the stocks or whatever. But then you're like, well, what if I combine like 4 games together that look good? And then it just makes it almost impossible to hit every single one of them. And
You're wrapping up huge parlays for like, they could win like thousands of dollars hypothetically for like $50.
Yeah,
because all of them are statistically valid or good.
Exactly, and then at the end of the day, you hit 1 or 2 like every couple months, and you break even. But it feels
coming back, man. It keeps coming back.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. This AI is crazy. I'm going to mess with it a lot more and see if I can unlock its true powers for good.
Be dangerous.
It'll be dangerous. I mean,
it'll replace us on the podcast.
It'll replace us on the podcast. It'll replace all the artists that we have out there. I mean, hopefully not. We love you, artists. But it's really intimidating right now, I think.
I'm a little scared.
I wouldn't say I'm scared, but I'm very interested to see how this all develops and unwraps.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of like research studying on like graphic design. You know, trying to see if I can make it like a business for myself. And the AI stuff that's out there right now is like really concerning for people.
Yeah,
because you can download like Dolly, like we're talking about, or something like that, and you can have it create like a logo for you.
Right. Like, I want it to be this,
like,
this, and this.
Yeah. It's not... I've seen some of the results. It's not, like, perfect. But, you know, one day it might be.
Right. Keep honing it in. Keep practicing.
Yeah, so I don't know what will happen.
We should all probably go back to school immediately to be software engineers and computer programmers.
Dude, I feel like that's the opposite because I already have it writing me a code to penny trade paper stocks until... I can get the code good enough that I can put it in the regular market, but it's like generating code, and it walked me through the whole process of like getting a free code compiler and how to connect it to my Webull account and all of this stuff. And I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, anything can happen. But right now, we're reliant on humans for the most part for our graphic design, at least if we want a good job done. Like our new logo that our boy Matt Dundulis made for us today.
Absolutely.
Joining us live in the studio. All you guys been out there voting on it. We appreciate you and helping us decide. Matt did an amazing job, and he hooked us up with all these color schemes and all these really cool things going on and really tailored it to us. And we're super appreciative, and now he's here with us.
Take two.
First time the power went out. It was a very sad day. We were recording and we were like...
Had a whole hour into it, man.
Yeah, about 45 minutes to an hour in, and power goes out and didn't save anything, corrupted all my files.
It was the first act of God that we had on this show.
Where
they just like, shut this shit down.
They're trying to stop us. It was actually... I wouldn't put it on God. I'll put it on, like, the FBI.
You think the FBI...
yeah, we were talking about riots. And then
we were actually talking about riots.
The whole power went out.
No, we weren't.
Yeah, never mind. Just kidding. That never existed. Nope. We were not talking about riots and the
Stay in school.
That's right. Stay in school. Stay educated. Stay woke.
Drink water.
Don't
drink. Not the fluoride water though.
No, and don't use AI generated things to make money in the stock market. We don't like that.
Or to make logos for your businesses.
That's right.
All right.
These people need to work. Matt needs to.
We need to work. We need to make money.
We need to make money,
We need to live.
or else they're gonna give us $800 checks a month,
UBI.
and nobody else will be able to. And nobody will be able to work.
And rent will be like
$1 million.
$1,500. Yeah, 25,000
You'll
a
have
month.
to live with your 4 brothers and sisters and share a 1-bedroom house and or a 1-bedroom apartment for $2,600 a month, and all your money will just go to that, and you'll have to eat rats on the street.
It'll be just like the good old days.
Yeah, just like back in the what was it, the Great Depression,
Or like the Middle Ages.
the Middle Ages.
Isn't
eating
that
rats.
happening in New York City right now?
People are
You
eating
know,
rats.
one bedroom for
Oh, yeah.
$5,000.
Oh yeah, that's like an interesting trend on one of the reels and TikToks is they'll stop someone on the streets in New York who looks like well dressed or whatever and be
Oh,
like,
yeah, I've
can
seen
you
that.
can you show us your apartment and
Yeah,
how much you pay
for it.
And they're like, I pay $2,000 a month, and they're like, well, here's this wall I made to separate my toilet from my bed. Like,
Yeah, dude, that does not sound ideal.
That's hilarious.
But what can you do? You know,
Move.
sometimes move. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess sometimes that's like not that easy though. You know what I mean? There's a lot of limiting factors. I can't just pick up and leave and move and shit. I mean,
You could
technically I could, but I'd probably do it at a loss. It'd be probably pretty hard for me to just move without giving it
Yeah.
appropriate planning and
You have to plan
thought.
that out, yeah.
You gotta have the right grind set. Like, for instance, the one time I was in New York, I was at a meeting, and someone was sharing, and they were like the most well-dressed person there. And by the end of, the time they were done talking, they were like, I'm homeless, but I keep a YMCA membership, and I go to laundromats, so I keep my clothes clean, and I shower and stuff. So technically, if you had a job there that pays more money, and you just, got a couple memberships, you could live on the street, save up money, and come back here and be balling out of control. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe. That's definitely a possibility. I don't know if it's ideal though,
Well,
or if
nothing.
I have the willingness to do
Yikes.
that.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that.
Well, you gotta. It all depends on how hard you want to grind.
Maybe out west where the weather's nice.
Yeah.
Right? I thought about it. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to do that stuff. I want to talk to Matt about graphic design. That's why he's here, Dave.
I do too.
Not this homelessness
I think someone else
and
started
eating
it.
rats. Yeah, maybe I did. Maybe this is my fault after all. Talking about this AI and putting us all out of work.
Yeah.
Poor Matt
yeah.
here, a new flourishing graphic designer, already to be put out of work by artificial intelligence.
Not if we can help it.
How do you plan to compete?
To be continued.
To be continued. We'll find out later. But how'd you get into this? I didn't even know you did graphic design, and you're like, hey, I saw you were looking for a logo for your thing, and you're like, and wanted to hook something up for us. So
Yeah.
how did this all get started for you?
So, when I was 13, 14 years old, so, when growing up as a kid, I wanted to be a professional wrestler. I was a
What?
dream of mine, and I
Like
want,
Hulk Hogan?
yeah, I was
Or better
I was,
than him?
I was hardcore into wrestling,
Who was your dude?
Yeah, who's the go-to?
Stone
Who's the-
Cold Steve Austin,
Oh,
Yeah,
my dude.
yeah.
Hell
The
yeah.
Rock,
The Rock.
those
Yeah.
are my two favorites probably.
Those are
But,
crucial wrestlers
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah, I was into that big time, obsessed. So, so one of the things that was happening on the internet, they had like chat rooms, like forums and stuff like that for wrestling. Like there's discussions, people talking about it, and then there's like a section that was about like designing like banners, what they called, for your signature when you post stuff.
Right.
And people would request stuff, and then you could respond and make them something, and then if they use it, you kind of just feel good about it.
Hell
Like
yeah.
this dude,
pick yours as
this
favorite.
person's using my work. So I started off making them in like Paint, MS Paint, and they were horrible. They were trash. And then I when I was younger, I couldn't afford buying like Photoshop because it was like $1,000 for the software. So I ended up cracking a copy, pirating.
yeah.
Or actually, I did not. On
That's
the record.
right. We can't get into this again, dude.
Off
That's
the
probably why
record.
the FBI
Maybe
came.
Adobe shut us down
Maybe,
last
yeah.
time.
Possible, yeah, they heard. But yeah, so I started using Photoshop, and I kind of learned it on my own, and I got decent at it, and so I started making those banners. I was into doing that a lot, and then I don't know, just kind of like messed around with it throughout the years, and then my wife that you've had on here,
Yeah, Kelly.
previously,
Bella's Bloom. She was amazing.
the better half of our household, as I say. I had a chance to, design the logo for the business, and then I got like back into it. So I just went hard, and I just started watching a bunch of YouTube videos, downloaded Adobe Creative Cloud, I started learning Illustrator. Not to get too technical, but like Adobe Photoshop is better for like pictures and stuff.
Right.
But Illustrator is better for like logos. And it's like a whole thing behind why. Like there's pixels versus vectors and all this stuff. I don't know how educational you want to get here. But, I started learning Illustrator. And so I reached out to you guys because I wanted to like practice and see if I can make something cool. And yeah, I think, something pretty cool came out of it.
Yeah, we ended up with some sweet shit for sure.
Yeah.
It's real cool.
I was telling you guys, I was kind of self-conscious about it. So when you guys posted on Facebook in the comments with all the different versions, I kept like going back to the post every like half hour to see if people were saying it, saying something.
I was going back to it a lot too, man.
I was too.
I was watching it unfold, dude. I think we have some clear winners and some pretty awesome color schemes that I like, and obviously the people like our listeners out there, and we're really appreciative for the work you did, and hopefully it helps continue to grow your business, and you can keep doing this.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you see this as something that you could be doing full time if you were able to?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, there's people out there doing this successfully.
For sure. There's like big companies out there doing this.
There's companies, yeah. There's freelance artists, which is probably what I would, lean toward doing initially. But, I'm also my worst enemy. So, for every like positive thought I have, I'll have like 2 negative thoughts of like why it's not going to work.
Right.
So I got to, I'm working on getting past that. It's always been a struggle for me, like to get past the self-doubt, because it's just like a limiting factor.
Yeah.
Well, I think 2 negatives make a positive. I think that's pretty standard math. So that might be a good thing.
Yeah, the more you berate and humiliate yourself.
I was trying to process how that works. Yeah, I was gonna come back with an answer, but I couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, I don't think that's really a very positive thing to be super critical of yourself, or the more critical or the worse thing. So
I respect the.
I thought that was going to be something, though.
Yeah.
I thought there was something to that. I bet I could see the wheels turning in your head of how you can make something to that now.
Yeah. You've never been like, I fucking suck. This is never going to work. Hey, you know what? I'm pretty fucking all right. It's pretty... maybe
it's mathematics.
It's mathematics.
It's basic math, people. Come on.
That's right.
But that's only when you multiply. That's only when you multiply negative numbers. When you add negative numbers, you get more negative. So,
well, you always got to be multiplying.
You need to check your math.
You always got to be multiplying.
Unless you're subtracting.
Or dividing. I think when you divide, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anyway. I had a hard time with that too when we started this. And I especially like recently, as I'm starting to get more exposed to like the world of video and audio production, I'm like, oh fuck, dude, look at all these people and all the shit that they have already and where they've already gone and done and been. So it's like really easy for me to get down on myself. But usually, I feel like that those down moments are only like, I've cut it down to like an hour of self-pity before I like snap out of it, Yeah. It used to be like days or months or weeks of self-pity.
Yeah, I remember the first couple episodes, and whereas Tony, focused more on the editing and video production, I'm thinking of the linguistics and how we present it when we're actually doing it. And the first couple, at least the first episode we did, I remember afterwards just being, I said, the word like I said like 57 fucking times. I'm awful at this. This is never gonna work. And they're like, no, dude, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna get better. And it has. You just gotta keep throwing yourself at it.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel like you've overcome those negative thoughts or those negative initiatives to not want to do it? What's been helpful to you?
Honestly, it's kind of cliche, but just going and just doing something, like trying to go work on something when I'm feeling that way, to like take up the time in my head.
Right.
or the space in my head.
So staying occupied on
Yeah.
on different projects, or you stay at the graphics design?
So I have a project where I'm working on right now for another flower farm that I've been kind of putting ideas together, and so that's been kind of helpful, you know. But like just like whatever is needed to be done, you know, whether it's like just chores around the house or just like watching something educational, inspirational, you know, something to get me out of that is helpful for sure.
Right.
And you know, yeah, I don't know. I don't stay there very long either anymore. You know.
Yeah.
So
Taking breaks and watching something, I feel like, is always really good too, especially when it's like being solution oriented instead of self-pity oriented. You know, if I see something that I don't like or something that's not working out well, I'll watch a video on how to fix it, you know, and kind of try to apply that and then feel better because I not only have I learned something, but I feel like I've made progress in my life or in like this project or this endeavor that I'm facing.
for sure, and I think it also builds on itself too. Like, you know, for example, I was working on your guys, you know, on your logo, and the first thing I sent you was not what ended up being the final piece.
Sure.
And I was so frustrated when I was working on it. I was like, I'm never gonna get this done. Like, this is stupid. Like, I can't like figure this out. But I just kind of kept pushing through it, you know, and like just like searching on like how to do something, and then like trying to like watch a tutorial about it or something and then apply it. So now I'm working on this new thing, and I'm like, you know, I'm feeling the same way, but I'm like, I figured it out last time, so why can't I figure it out this time? Like, you know, so it's like those steps kind of build on each other, you know, each time.
Yeah, for sure. And knowledge is not something that's like finite either. You know, you can continue to add to your skill library, so to speak, and draw on that and apply it and transition it to other areas of our lives, you know, because a lot of these skills that I think are very vital in taking on a new project are they transpose from other areas of our life. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of projects that we've been at before in our younger days that we can use those same skills for when trying new things.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
I think like one of the things I do mainly with my writing and stuff is if I'm feeling like I'm getting caught up, I'll meditate, because I find when I'm frustrated, I tend to forget things that I know. You know, like I get all flustered up in the head, and if I just give myself a couple minutes to just like level back, I'm like, oh no, I know how to do this.
Right.
You know.
Have you had any really frustrating things that you just couldn't figure out and then figured out?
I mean, going to recovery,
Yeah.
for example, if we're talking about just general stuff.
Well, general, but I was leaning more towards the graphics design stuff.
yeah,
Like want to throw your laptop across the
yeah. I
room
mean,
and shit.
I can't even really think of like the specific thing I was struggling with at the time, but it was just about like making something look the way I wanted to. Like I know what I want to do, but I'm not good at this software yet. I'm still learning that. So like I don't know like what tool to use to do it. And so I keep trying and stuff, and then, you know, it keeps not working the way that I picture it. So then I'm like, I need to walk away from this for a little bit.
Do you start with like a sketch first, or do you go straight to Photoshop or Illustrator?
Kind of playing around with different workflows, you know. I did try sketching something out on paper first, but I actually think for me it works best when I start with like the typography. That's kind of my thing, is like typography, like lettering, typography. I start with that, and then I work through that, and then I get an idea of like something else I could add, whether it's the actual like logo, like icon or something. But yeah, I'll probably start there usually. That's kind of like my preferred workflow right now.
So start with the lettering and then kind of get inspired off that.
And I don't really sketch lettering. I just kind of, you know, I'll find some fonts that might look good for a project, and then I'll just start playing with some tools to like customize the font, you know, to make it unique to that specific thing.
Sure. And do you use like a drawing pad?
So I'll just do it on the computer with a mouse. There's like some tools. There's this thing called a pencil tool that like is really cool.
Yeah.
You can like just drag some stuff like part of the font around to like make like swirls and whatever. I do use the iPad too with the Apple Pencil, and try to like sketch something out on that too. But
Mostly just the mouse and the tool. Okay.
yeah, I'm kind of the kind of person that like I'll jump into something like all the way, and I'll like just spend all this money on all the tools and crap.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know how to use them yet. So then I'm like, I get so overwhelmed that I just like don't do anything. Now I have like all this stuff I just bought, and it's just kind of sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know how to use this stuff yet.
I know that feeling really well because like for me, buying shit is something that makes me feel good. And I got this project already that's making me feel good. Now I'm buying all this shit, and then like that's making me feel even better. I'm getting all hyped up in my head, and then it gets here, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Absolutely.
And it's easy to get overwhelmed too because you get caught up in that good feeling, and then you end up with way more stuff than you actually need.
Yeah, because now you got to learn all this shit too.
Right. Yeah, maybe I should have just got one thing at first and then built my way, figured that out, and then got the next thing. Yeah. But that's not how we do everything. I mean, everything at once. Here at everything at once.
No, not at all. I mean, because you start using something, and it's like, and you're watching your videos, and you're there like, transfer this, or you start using this, and you're like, I don't have that yet. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I need all this shit at once.
Yeah. Buy it all at once, man. Buy everything at once.
Hell yeah.
And just like lock it up in a cabinet until it's time to use it. Then it makes it not as overwhelming.
Plus, then I feel like obligated to use it and to figure it out too at that point.
Right, because you just spent all this money on it.
Right, like now I have to use it. Because then I'll feel like real shit if it just like sits around down here, sits wherever it's sitting, and I don't use it. Like, wow, I'm a fucking piece of shit.
Right.
Straight back to the self-loathing where I feel comfortable at.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. It's like time to buy groceries. I don't got as much money. I'll look at this dumb fucking thing that I wasted, money on. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. We got ramen noodles for days down here. We'll survive off that if we have to.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
All you need.
So you haven't had any like real formal education in doing this stuff. It's been mostly YouTube and your own like drive and determination.
Yeah, for this specific area, yeah. My college degree is in finance and accounting, so completely different realm.
I think that's a good thing to have for if you're looking to start your own business. Though everyone we've talked to that's gone like the entrepreneurial route, struggles with the business side of it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely helpful to like kind of understand like what to do. At least how to approach building a business.
Yeah.
Because like there's all these stuff like business plans and like all this stuff that I don't really want to do.
Yeah.
But I heard it's important.
I've heard those can be, having a good plan is pretty important to success.
Yeah. Because like I just want to get to the actual thing now.
Yeah. Right.
I don't want to like build a business plan and then have to figure out like how I'm gonna actually get there.
Yeah. I mean, if you ever get to the point though, like it usually takes a couple years with like a bank, but if you ever need a cash infusion, like the business plan is the only way to go. Like
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have that, and filing for taxes and figuring out like profit and like all the other stuff. I'm sure is beneficial having that knowledge already.
And what you can write off. I guess you could pay an accountant to do that, but if you knew a lot of the stuff yourself,
not if you're starting a new business.
If you're married to one,
Yeah, there you go. Smart, dude. Smart move.
That's right. We're writing everything off.
Hell yeah.
I didn't say that.
That's right. They're listening, dude. They shut us off last time, so we gotta be a little bit more careful here. So the art is mostly self-taught. Have you always considered yourself like an artistic person? I mean, ever since you were a kid, I guess you were drawing and messing around on stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever consider myself like artistic necessarily. I don't know. It's kind of tough because growing up, like I was always like given this idea from other people that like being artistic doesn't like pay much,
Yeah,
so you
it's a
gotta
lost
like
cause.
you gotta do something like to make money, which I kind of went down the business route, but I haven't really like enjoyed it very much, versus like when I'm working on like design stuff, I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing.
Yeah.
and like it's actually fun, and I have a passion for it, but like it hasn't made me any money yet, so it's like one of those things you gotta kind of balance a little bit, I think. But it's also kind of cool to have like a day job and then have like financial security
Stability, yeah.
that I can then work on this other stuff on the side and then maybe try to build it up, as I go. And there's a bunch of different things you can do in like design, like that I even know existed. There's this idea that I came across that I want to try. It's called print on demand. I don't know if you ever heard of. It's
Not really.
basically, there's these companies that you can submit your designs to, and they, you can link that to like your Etsy store or something, and if people buy that thing, it will send the order to this company, and they'll print it for you and send it to the person that bought it. You don't have to do anything other than design the actual thing. Like, so I can go and like create a brand new design for like a T-shirt, and then like sell it on Etsy, and then link it to this like thing in the background that like will process my orders for me and stuff. So I want to try doing that. Maybe it's like a real quick way to get in. That's like really low cost. There's there's like not much entry barrier. It's just about the time it takes to create something and then put it on like a merchandise item and then just list it.
I feel
and
like
then try to market it, and then you get to basically keep whatever profit you set.
Sure.
So at least if I can use that to pay for my Adobe subscription,
That'd be pretty cool.
that'd be
right?
cool because it's not a cheap
not.
thing at all, and
No.
so
they definitely don't do like grants or anything either. They're real bastards at Adobe.
No, I feel like they might have had like a school subscription, but
yeah, if you're a student, I think you get a large discount or you get it for free.
Same.
Unfortunately,
It's not for free, but
it's not.
I think it
No.
depends on what school you go to as well, because I feel like certain schools probably have that like bundled in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like an art school, maybe.
Oh no, Penn State
Makes sense.
Penn State, you got Adobe for free.
Did you?
Yeah, but or like I worked
Probably
with
not Edinburgh, where I went.
Probably not
They make you pay
Edinburgh.
full price.
Full price, dude.
Double charge.
Well,
You don't count as a student here.
Well, even like I've worked with nonprofit, and even for nonprofits, they don't give it away for free. It's like the student thing. It's greatly discounted, but you still got to pay for it. So.
Right.
Yeah, and now it's like subscription based too, so you got to pay every year to keep it.
Yeah.
You don't own it, so it's, as soon as you stop paying,
You're done.
yeah, you can't use it anymore. So
You're burnt.
it's I don't know, man. There's pros and cons to that,
I mean, your shit's always getting updated. They're adding new tools and features
Yeah,
and stuff, which
and
is
if you're
cool.
making money doing it,
Yeah,
then that
it
pays
doesn't
for
matter.
it.
That's
But
just
if you're using it
cost
as
of
like a
doing
hobby,
business.
yeah, if it's just something you do like on the side, it might not be sustainable for
Unless
everybody.
it's something you're really passionate about and really
Yeah.
enjoy doing.
Right.
Like I know a lot of kids going back to like the AI stuff. A lot of kids will use or people in general, I guess, will use Canva.
Yeah.
Because that's just like a free alternative. It's not as nuanced as Adobe, but I know a lot of kids in school. If they don't have access to Adobe or business people that don't pay for the subscription, they just go the cheap route and do Canva.
Yeah, I actually use Canva a little bit myself. I actually use it for a part of the logo for the flower farm as well. It was interesting. Yeah.
I like the idea of open source whenever people can do it. I don't know how it really is sustainable or how they're doing what they're doing, but anything that I can get open source, usually I will opt for open source over paying for it. Like I used open source or like Open Office all through college. Never got Microsoft Word, never got any of that other stuff. Just used the open source alternatives.
Yeah.
Google Docs is great for that kind of.
Yeah, I mean Google Docs. There's tons of different ones out there, and like I said, I don't know how they're doing it or how they're like staying operational, but I do greatly appreciate them, and I like that more things are going in that direction. I feel like more things are free and sustainable somehow through generous donations or some sort of person's will and desire to keep information available and free to the people.
Yeah, I agree. Although I just found a lifetime office
A lifetime
access
office?
code
Oh,
for $30.
wow.
I couldn't pass it up.
No, I mean that's pretty cheap. I'd probably go for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's good software. But a lot of places are moving towards like that free model as far as software and information goes, you know, and generating revenue however they're generating revenue. I mean, I think that the subscription and the free stuff is the more subscription-based things are going to become more and more commonplace.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen it happen with a lot of different.
I'm waiting for
Things out there.
for subscription web browsing and subscription Google searching and stuff like that, where I don't have ads and it actually uses like appropriate information to give me the best source instead of just a bunch of Google ad shit front on top of the line.
Yeah, I think there's two sides to that too, right? I mean, if you have a business that you're trying to like run, those ads are huge, you know, because you can market your business that way. But obviously for the user, you know, not
It's
everyone
not as
likes
friendly.
to have ads.
And I'm sure
pop up.
not everybody will pay for it, but it might be something that has a market value to it, you know, or a market that people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
And I think that, oh shoot, I forgot I was going with that. Oh well.
I hate ads.
I hate ads too. Oh, I know what I was gonna say too. Like,
There we go.
there are all those people have you ever gone like on a Google search and looked for a website or looked for something, and it sends you to like the like top ad is like a fraud website
Yeah.
or a fake one?
I've never had that happen before. No.
I last year for Christmas, my nieces live out of town, and my one niece wanted a present. My brother was just like, took the screenshot of like the top, you know, the Google thing, just a picture of it. So I went to it and I bought it, and it never got to him. And when I did the PayPal dispute, the email for this, so the business wasn't open anymore, like the website was gone, and the email address was just like 42 Chinese characters.
Oh,
I was like,
geez.
I'm getting my money back, you know. But it was the first thing that popped up for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly what you were
At
saying.
least you use PayPal for it. It's like
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I got my money back.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that's like the next new wave of crime that's coming, or is already like here, is like internet fraud and people, you know, just doing fraudulent transactions and getting people to wire money over to pay for a service that doesn't exist and all sorts of ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they can that can continue at such a rampant rate right now. I guess it's easy to just make new shit, but I feel like the onus or responsibility of that should be somewhere on the people that are putting that service out there, like Google or whoever is making that like such a top thing that comes up, and all these sponsored ads and stuff like that people are buying on Facebook or Instagram or wherever that are just like complete fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Like boosted posts saying that I'm going to give somebody $100, and then like 500 comments underneath it. I'm like, oh, I want $500, $500,
Yeah.
and then you get a private message like a few minutes later, like, oh, send me your Cash App, send me your bank account information.
Yeah.
I need your birthday, blah blah blah. First, you have to send me this, and then I can send you that. And
most of that stuff I think is kind of obvious. You know.
I would think so, dude. But
there are people still
there
get
are
got.
tons of
People still
people
get got,
getting
man.
got all the
I feel like
time.
maybe like older people that
Older
aren't as
people.
good with technology. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's I'm not saying that's like a thing that all old people struggle with, but like I know a lot of people, you know, that are older aren't great at technology, so they might see something that looks,
Legit.
yeah, they might not notice like one spelling, you know, mistake, which is all you need to really find that's not
That's
real.
not real.
Yeah.
See, I feel like the servicing like a goods, like selling goods, is what really gets people. If it pops up first at Google and like they make the price point for it like just slightly cheaper than what you'd find on like Amazon, maybe like by a couple bucks. It's like, oh, it's coming from overseas, so it's going to take a couple weeks. That's enough time to get as many people's money as possible. Shut the thing down before you even file a dispute, because you think you're going to be waiting 2 to 3 weeks anyways. I think it's bullshit, but I think it's also really genius, you know.
I wouldn't say it's genius. I'd say it's lazy.
No, I'd say it's genius. Not on the buyer's end, but on the
I don't think it's that smart, dude.
the
I think if it was smart, you would have if you were smart, you would have an actual business that's actually successful. Do you think that if you were going back to school, you would focus more on art or digital media design?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would. But you know, what's done is done. So
What's done is done. Yeah, I mean, you can't have any regrets.
yeah, I mean, I could always go back to school for that, but that
I
just
like to
seems like a lot
hypothesize.
of a lot of extra effort and
Yeah.
money that I don't need to spend.
Yeah,
'Cause
there's
there's so much stuff out there that's like free and readily available.
Especially if you've already done, like you did our logo, you've done your wife's logo, you're doing a branding for another farm. So you're getting yourself out there. So
Yeah.
you're making the connections that are necessary already.
Yeah, I'm just, it's a little scary. I think anytime I have to commit to doing this for someone, because then it's like, if it's taking me longer than I expected, it just brings a lot of anxiety for me. So, I'm not trying to like overcommit and like take a huge bite out of something that I can't actually process.
yeah, that makes sense.
So, hopefully I can like build this thing steadily and
Small steps instead
Yeah.
of a giant leap.
yeah, because I want to build a reputation for being someone that overpromises and then doesn't
Deliver.
Yeah.
And plus it gives you, I think taking smaller projects or taking more time on a project allows you to ensure that you're giving out a good project, doing a good job on this project.
Yeah, I think right now for me, I'm just trying to figure out how long it takes me to do something on
Yeah.
average so that I can like market it.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that's important at first, maybe, but I was talking with some other people about this when I was discussing this new project I have in mind for doing that. A lot of times it's not about the time, it's about the product or about the service. Because like right now, hourly might be a good way to measure how much effort goes into it, but that hourly time is going to be changing. You know what I mean? Like what takes you 4 hours now might take you 1 hour.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the one thing I'm not going to do if I decide to take this like to the next level, I'm not going to charge hourly.
Yeah, it's going to be
Ever.
by the project.
Yeah, because you get the hourly stuff, you start. There's a lot of headache when we get into the hourly stuff because then you start like potentially having arguments with the client,
About how much time you're actually
Yeah.
spending on something.
versus like I just give you a price.
That's what it is.
I need half now, half after it's done, and it's established, and that's it.
Right.
It just makes it a lot simpler.
Yeah. To an extent, unless you underestimate your project.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to figure out how long it's going to take me to do something so that I can like for myself kind of plan that out in advance.
It's part of that business plan. It's
Going back to the business plan that I don't have.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sure you have one in your head. I feel like having a business plan is much different than having like a formal business plan that I would present to a bank or to a college professor to show that I understand how business works. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of ideas in my head, but I find it's helpful to put those on paper.
Yeah.
And like organize the ideas.
Have like a step-by-step list.
Yeah, because right now I have all this shit going on in my head, and like a lot of times I just forget some of the stuff.
Oh, for sure.
If I don't write it down, and it might have been useful at some point, and now it's just gone,
Yeah.
potentially forever.
I used to be so averse to like taking notes.
Yeah, same. I still am. I still hate it. I still don't like.
Like, no, my brain
like,
can remember this shit.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like writing stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do you feel like it constrains you?
I don't know. Is that? I think it's just more like I don't see the value in it when
When you're
in the
writing it down
moment.
because
Yeah.
like you remember it right then.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot of like unnecessary effort. But I know it's not true. In the back of my head, I know it's not. But it's like a habit thing, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just not in the habit. Like, I'm not in the habit of writing. I'm not in the habit of reading. And I would like to change those things, I've been
We
trying
have
to
a
read
book
more.
club.
Do you?
Yeah, you could join it if you want.
I'm sick, man.
Start reading.
Note taking is paramount.
All you listeners out there too, we've been reading our book. I don't know if you guys saw that post or not, but it's called Roadside Picnic. It's a Russian sci-fi book, and I'm hoping to do a book club like show
Be
at some
interesting.
point. It'd be interesting. But yeah, dude, if you want to start picking up, we don't like read at any sort of rapid high pace or anything like that. So it's pretty casual for the most part. But if it's something you're interested, you're welcome to come hang out.
I'm the
Read a
only
book.
one that reads really rapidly, but that's because that's just my thing. I'm just a book nerd.
I just bought like 3 books on design.
Nice.
I just
Oh,
got
yeah?
here on Tuesday, so hopefully.
Is that the kind of books you normally read? Is like nonfiction?
That's the thing, man. I don't read much, so I don't have a type,
Right.
you know. But I used to enjoy reading when I was younger, and I would read a lot of like fiction stuff, action stuff. I don't know, like spy stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I find reading to be extremely important in the creation process for me because unlike watching TV or watching movies, like when you read, you create the things in your head, so it gets like the creative juices flowing.
More
Like, you
active,
interpret
involved
it-
process.
You interpret the words to something.
Yeah, and make all the
unique to
pictures in
you.
your head.
Yeah.
There's been
Yeah, no, it definitely is not doubting its benefits, but
Just something that you're not practicing right
yeah, like a lot of other things in my life.
now. Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
That's true. I feel that. Do you think, like, have you thought about factoring into, like, how you schedule the payments or whatever, people's dissatisfaction? I've worked on very briefly in college through public relations projects like branding and logos before, and I know it can be such a pain in the ass if you get a nitpicky person, you know.
Yeah, this is all stuff that I've learned. I haven't applied any of this, so just a disclaimer. I don't know if it works or not. But some of the ideas that I've gotten, you know, are things like, you know, you get 3 revisions when I give you this. And then anything beyond those 3 revisions, I'm going to charge extra,
Right.
you know. And then it sounds like a good idea. I mean, I'm sure there's different ways to plan for that kind of stuff, but yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that I'm like, man, I don't even want to do this because, like, there's going to be just clients that are just, like, not great to deal with.
Right.
So why even do this, period, you know?
Do you work with
So that's-
people at your current job? Or at your new job?
Yeah.
So you're already kind of familiar with the process anyway.
For sure, yeah.
If you're doing this for fun, at least at this point, hopefully a business later, profitable, revenue generating, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a question of like, is this new thing that I'm enjoying worth the headache and the discomfort of dealing with people that might not be so pleasant to work with?
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking me that about this, I think the answer would be yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, you know, because I also know that, like, we blow things up a lot of time in our head, you know? Like,
for
I
sure.
think every single person I'm going to work with is going to be just hard to work with. And I don't think that's really true. From my experience, it's like the opposite, you know? Like, that's like 9 out of 10 times, like, it's a good experience.
Right.
So I'm hoping to focus on that, you know?
Yeah,
Instead
definitely.
of, like, the one potential terrible experience.
Everything's always worse in my head before I
Yeah.
actually do it.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think that, you know, if you do something long enough, especially something creative, you know, there's eventually going to be a time where, especially if you're working, you know, contracted to somebody where you put a lot of time into something and you put it out and and you love it and they're like, I don't like it, you know, and then you got to alter it around. It's got to be a cool experience creating, though. Like, I've always found that, you know, the most fascinating thing or when I feel best about myself is when I take something that just never existed and put it out into the world.
Yeah, coming from, like, the financial the world, like investments and the advisor world that I'm leaving behind now, kind of, there's always this concept of, like, working with your ideal clients and having the ability to do that would be cool. You know, that means, like, I don't have to focus on, like, taking every single person just because I need money, but more like figuring out, like, who my ideal client is and only working with those people, and then, you know, other people, like, you know, having the ability to, like, just
Say no.
turn them away,
Yeah.
or just say, hey, it's not going to work, you know? So
Right.
I think, you know, that's one of those things that I've learned that might apply in this space too.
For sure.
Is doing that.
And I think as you continue to get better and continue to grow, there will probably be a certain type or style or whatever that you prefer to work with. And then it's just building up that clientele base, you know? And
Yeah. The defining your niche is a big thing. It's so weird. I always felt like this is like a big thing, I think, across all spaces is like having like a defined niche that you go after. And in my head, I think like if I do that, I'm like only focusing on a small portion of people. But like, how am I going to make any like money on that if like I'm not marketing to everybody? But then it tends to be like the way the result that happens tends to be like the opposite, because you can charge more if you're an expert at something, and you can also attract all those people in that small space, but there's still like a lot of people there.
Right. I think there's a big difference between trying to be a Walmart and trying to be like a Krause's hardware store. You know what I mean? Or like another small department store.
Or like a co-op or something.
Or a co-op versus Walmart or versus Giant Eagle. Both have their space, and at the end of the day, you have to determine what your goal is. You know, am I here to expand and grow and build this gigantic conglomerate of companies and graphics design or whatever it is that people are facing, or am I comfortable with something a lot smaller that is more intimate and personal to me, and maybe not making as much money as if I were to grow and expand and have all these employees and all this other stuff.
We kind of had that conversation with Fireberry.
Yeah, exactly. We just had Mike on. We're gonna be putting these episodes out together. So he was on earlier today, actually, and it's all about carving out your own space and not trying to, you know, as an addict, me personally, it's in my nature to look for more all the time. You know, more and more and more. Whether it's business or podcasting or whatever it is, I need more of it. And fighting against that nature and finding the comfort and the gratitude in what we have is it can be a struggle, but it's very rewarding and beneficial.
I agree.
You can work yourself to the bone, especially if you're working for yourself. I feel like it would be really easy to just put in so many hours.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you just gotta know where the line is between like enjoying a passion project and like, you know, going overboard because your brain just can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, and also, I mean, if you work for yourself, you know, like your success depends on you. So, you know, I think that's more motivation to spend more time, you know, versus if I'm working at a job for someone else, like, you know, at some point, like, I'm not gonna overextend myself.
Right.
You know.
And I think as a younger lad, I was a lot more ambitious. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be the Walmart or the super, you know, well-known legacy, all this shit that were really important to me. Had to be the best, had to be the biggest, the whateverist. And as I've gotten older, I've found out that, like, I don't have to set these aspirations so high, and I can be a lot more happy with a lot less than what I had originally imagined. Do you think that as you've gotten older, you've become maybe not less ambitious, but more grateful for what you have? And
absolutely, yeah. It's just been huge in general, and I think I have learned to be, you know, in that place more often as I become older, because I just look around and I'm like, I have all this, you know, like awesome stuff that I never imagined having when I was younger, you know. And my mind's kind of shifted from like wanting more to like just enjoying like what I have, you know. I'm like, it's enough, you know. It's way more than enough, actually.
right.
And like, you know, I'm all right if this is the best, you know, that it gets. This, like, I'm pretty cool with that.
Yeah.
Like, I can stay here comfortably.
I don't know.
But not saying that I don't want to reach for more, because I do, you know. I got to a place in my career to this point where I just like just kind of stuck. I just like I don't know like where I'm going anymore, you know. And so I made this huge, like, pretty significant change. You know, I'm starting a new path next week, completely new industry for work, So yeah, gratitude's huge. I think it's been important for me to like just like take some time and just enjoy and appreciate all the stuff that I have in my life, you know.
Right. So you mentioned that you never imagined yourself having the things that you have. And I think it's interesting because reflecting back on myself, there was like a time where I was like, oh, I'm going to be famous, or maybe not even famous, but rich and have mansions and live in huge high-rise, whatchamacallits, like skyscrapers and shit, penthouse apartments, blah, 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 Mercedes-Benz, all the nice stuff. And that was like a very real goal for me at like a period in my life. And then as time went on, that goal was like, there's no way. It was beaten out of me, you know. It had taken so much from me that I never saw myself ever getting to that point again. And it's interesting now because that goal hasn't like quite returned, but it does, like but it seems a lot more realistic than it ever did before.
Yeah, I've had those same kind of dreams too. The one thing that I never really thought about though was some of those, like, I don't know if you want to call them like intangible things, like
happiness and love.
Yeah, serenity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, coming home and like just feeling comfortable and like being good. Like those were the things that I never dreamed about.
Yeah.
Or never thought were real things, you know. So now, like, regardless of like what I'm driving or where I'm living, like those things are kind of at the forefront for me now.
It's more about the peace and happiness than it is about the new car.
And I don't know if I'd be able to say that if I was, you know, homeless and, you know, broke.
Then it would just be, oh, the new car would make me happy, or the penthouse apartment would make me happy.
So, you know, I'm aware that, you know, my current situation probably is somewhat influencing my ability to focus on those things, where if I didn't have that foundation,
mm-hmm.
I might not be able to
explore these new passions.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'd agree with that a lot. There comes like a point in your in the development of like myself where I'm finally comfortable financially and all the other things that I can actually, like, you know, step out on a limb a little bit and take risks and take chances, and it won't be the end of the world as I know it.
Mm-hmm.
And we can chase those passions today.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all about the foundation. I mean, I think if you have a solid foundation, you can be broke, rich, somewhere in between, and you'll end up being all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that inner work.
Exactly.
Foundation.
Yeah. Some of the poorest, they do it by choice, but some of the poorest people on the face of the planet are the happiest. Or no, maybe not the happiest, but the most at peace, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's monks in India and all over the place that live off nothing, or
missionaries,
people living in cabins out in the woods that just, you know.
I would imagine having less material things and less responsibilities probably leaves more space in your head to, like,
enjoy the moment that you're in. Yeah.
So I feel like almost in a way we create our own misery.
Oh, we definitely do.
While we're chasing things and buying new shit. It's just like more stuff that takes up like space.
Desire is suffering.
Yeah.
And having things out of reach leads to suffering and more desire. But you got to find a balance in there too, you know?
Yeah, I agree. One of these books that I got, I was like just looking at the back of it because it's like got like 10 things about. One of the books is called Steal Like an Artist.
Okay.
I don't know what it's about, but I heard good things about it. I guess it's about finding inspiration when you're working on something. And there's so much stuff out there that's already been done that, like, I think it's hard to like be unique, quote unquote. So it's about like looking at existing stuff that's already there and then like using that as an inspiration on your own work. And
cool.
But one of the things that on the back of the book, it was like 10 things, and like I think number 10 was like creativity is about subtraction. And I just thought that was interesting. That was like an interesting thing to to like think about
I-
what that means. Like,
What does it mean to you?
I'm still processing, I guess, what that means. Like, creativity is subtraction. I don't know, man.
We had another guest on a while ago from Eden on Fire. The drummer from Eden on Fire was talking a lot about how when he was a younger drummer, he was very much into like technicality and ambitiousness and trying to play all the drums all the time, all at once, and
Perfectly.
all the time, all at once, perfectly, everything, and making it as technical and as many beats and as many everything as sounds as he possibly could all at once. But really what he was doing and I'm paraphrasing this here, this was what I heard from him, was that he was over exerting the sound and blurring the message, so to speak. When really he was adding all of these different drums and sounds into the song, it would have sounded a lot better with less, and it was just sounded like noise. Just like anything else, when there's too much shit going on, if you're in a crowded room and everybody's talking, all it sounds like is fucking noise. And learning how to subtract all of that other shit, you can actually have a conversation.
Yeah.
See, I think for me, creation is subtraction. Is you're taking from life, you're not adding to it. Art is an imitation of life, it's not a replacement of it. I think one of the big fallacies that I learned through my education and just learning myself is, like, if you want to be a better mathematician or you want to be a better physicist or a biologist or whatever, you learn as much as you possibly can, you study as many different things as you possibly can. But there's this fallacy that if you're creating, that you have to put yourself in a box, isolate yourself, not look at anything else so you don't like rip it off, so you can be totally unique. That's the most fucking you're shooting yourself in the foot. You give yourself a better chance to create by taking in as much as you possibly can so that you can learn. So when you take from others, you're subtracting, technically you're taking away from it, but then you put something else out there, but it's just taking little chunks of the life around you and making something out of it. So to me, that's what the creation is subtraction means.
Interesting.
It's crazy how one sentence can be so deep.
And so,
It means
pretty
like
different
many
things
different things to people.
Yeah. Because I was thinking less is more. Dave's got a totally different idea. You probably have a totally different idea as well.
Yeah.
That's what makes good art too.
Mm-hmm.
Is ambiguity and being able to have a message that's very clear to people on an individual level. And
not everyone's gonna like it.
You don't have to.
And it's important to, I think, understand that.
Right.
To not expect it to be well received by every single person that runs into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humans are very much ingrained to seek approval from one another.
Yeah, that's why just putting my work out there is so kind of scary, because my first instinct is I want to make sure everyone likes this.
Yeah.
I feel that.
But it's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's 100% impossible.
If everybody likes your shit, I think it just means you're in a position of power and they feel like they can gain something from liking it, or it's so popular that with their group of friends or something that they'll say they like it just to fit in. Beyond that, you're not gonna get a unified, liking of your stuff unless you're Stalin, then you kind of.
You have to.
You have to.
And in what you said, Matt, is the hypocrisy of a human being, because I want everybody to like my shit, and then not maybe 10 minutes before we're discussing how we need to find a niche market. And only certain, and accepting that only certain people are actually going to want our stuff, and that I only want to make a certain kind of stuff. It's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
And finding that inner brain or inner mind control to recognize that those two things don't compute. We're reaching for two goals that are not cohesive. You know, they don't come together. They don't work together.
Yeah, but I think only one of those goals actually is realistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what our brain That's not what my brain tells me. You know,
Me neither.
No.
figuring that out is all part of this process.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And we wish you the best of luck, dude. Hopefully, some
Thanks.
people listen and look at the logo and be like, "Hey, Matt D."
Make sure after you hear this, see this, however you're ingesting it, to go and onto our Facebook page and like the logo that you like the best.
Yeah, I'll leave it up for another week, and hopefully I'll refresh it too, see if I can like post something new on it, get it to pop back up in the feeds, or come look at our page and find it. It's not very far down the list. Vote for your favorite logo. If you need any graphic design work, hit up Matt D. He's the man. Crushed it.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. We love you. We love all the listeners out there, all of our international, intergalactic, space traveling listeners. You guys are the best. And good night, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Peace.
Go crush the next year.